نصلي ونسلم على رسوله النبي الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Today Insha Allah, in the same short amount of time, we will be reflecting on Surah Al-Baqarah, the next verse. Yesterday we talked about Ayat 26. إن الله لا يستحي بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله لا يستحي أن يضرب مثلا ما بعوضة فما فوقها. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if He wishes, He can guide with the smallest of examples فما فوقها, and whatever so He wishes. Having established this, the immediate next ayah 27, which is the subject of today's discussion, has some very important practical points for us to implement in our lives. الذين ينقضون عهد الله من بعد ميثاقه. That once the covenant, the agreement between you and Allah is affirmed, mithaqihi means ratified. Once you have testified La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, accepted iman, then you are ordered to hold strong fast to that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وَيَقْطَعُونَ مَا أَمَرَ اللَّهُ بِهِ أَن يُوصَلَ وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. That He is now going to mention who are the khasirun, who are the losers. Allah says the losers are those who break the ties that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained. Who are those ties? Those ties are the relationships that you are in. A man or an adolescent may well be a man, but at the same time he could be a son, he could be a father, he could be an uncle, he could be a nephew, he could be a grandson. He could be so many different types of relationships, a brother, a stepbrother. All of these are not your own choice. You did not choose your parents. You did not choose whether your father is harsh or soft. You did not choose whether the qualities or characteristics of your mother, of your sisters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala challenges us with our relationships. Your friends, you can choose. On social media, digitally, you can like, unlike, you can follow, unfollow at the click of a button. You can't do that with your parents. You can't do that with your sisters or your stepbrothers or your grandparents. And of course, all of these people will have their individual qualities. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that when I have placed you in that situation, if you're going to break those ties, وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, and that is tied to spreading corruption on earth. Peace is the opposite of corruption. Peace, tranquility. If in one family, let's say there is for an argument's sake, there's a whole wider family that live together. Within them there is one bad apple. Let's say for argument's sake that bad apple is a grandparent. So the family all come together and say, right, that is a bad grandparent, we need to avoid that person. What's going to happen is immediately all of the pressure is going to fall onto her son, who is the parent's father. So now that person is stuck between a rock and a hard stone. The person's family doesn't like his mother. He knows that his mother is wronging everybody, but he's now stuck. He can't let go of her because he's his mother. So that puts pressure on him. That person is married, so he's going to now have marital problems. Strain on the mother. The mother is now affected, and the children can't take that, and they think the grandmother precipitated that. So the cycle is vicious. So corruption is spread when the relationships are not maintained. And these are challenges that we have to face as humans. In this country, there is a crisis, and some people may dislike what I have to say about this topic, but I feel too passionately about it. We have a crisis of social care. There are patients admitted in hospital, medically they're optimized and treated, and we can't discharge them because they say, we have nobody at home to look after us. You have to give us carers. When the carers can't look after them, they say, right, put us in a nursing home. Because we have relinquished that responsibility. And when you get used to carers coming and looking after your relatives, believe you me, it's very hard to then start caring for somebody. When you have somebody coming to change the diapers of your elderly parent or grandparent, you then find it very difficult. You then, even when the carers are changing your parents' or grandparents' clothes because they've soiled themselves, you can't go into that room because of the smell. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remind you that when you look after your parents, remember how you were young? how you were small. Did you not have diapers? Did you not have diapers that smell? Did you not urinate and soil the clothes and the bedding and the whole room used to smell? And they used to take it as perfume and fragrance, like this is from our child. وَمَنْ نُعَمِّرْهُ نُنَكِّسُ فِي الْخَلْقِ Surah Yasin. We turn them back to how they were as children. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in advance I'm going to change them back to a childlike state. And if you have children, you realize how from 1 second they go from elation and happiness down to tantrums. And this is the same thing with the elderly. So these are relationships that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically commands in this ayah, that we do not break these bonds. وَيُفْسِدُونَ فِي الْأَرْضِ, or you become a corrupter. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْخَاسِرُونَ. You might think that those people are losers who have to go into that and change the smelly clothes. But Allah says, you are the loser. You have lost out from that ajr. You have lost out from that relationship. You have lost out from, you can't repay, but I'm going to use that word, repaying the service that your parents give to you when you were a child. And then Allah, having established this, says in ayah 28, كَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ. A question, how can you deny Allah? كَيْفَ تَكْفُرُونَ بِاللَّهِ وَكُنْتُمْ أَمْوَاتًا. You were lifeless. فَأَحْيَاكُمْ ثُمَّ يُمِيتُكُمْ ثُمَّ يُحْيِيكُمْ ثُمَّ إِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. You had no life. He gave you life. And then He took your life away. And then He will give you life again. He's telling you, what is the relationship between the relationships you have and being lifeless? Again, Allah is reminding you, you didn't choose. I chose for you your life. I chose for you who will be in your house, who will be your parents, who will be your uncles and aunties and relatives. And I'm not saying that these are easy relationships at all times. I know there are challenges. I live in the same world, but these are things that we, if in our youth we have clean hearts, it makes it a lot easier to look after these relationships. But if in your youth you pollute your heart, these relationships become logarithmically difficult to manage. هو الذي خلق لكم ما في الأرض جميعا ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن سبع سماوات وهو بكل شيء عليم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concludes this ruku by saying, He is the one who created everything in the earth, lakum, for you. For you. Allah is saying, I give you everything, and all I'm asking for in return are these small things. And then ثم استوى إلى السماء فسواهن سبع سماوات. Then Allah turned His attention to the heavens and created 7 heavens. Sab'a means 7, samawat. وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ. And He has knowledge of all things. We cannot imagine 1 heaven, let alone 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 heavens. These are things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left it to your mind to wonder. We cannot even imagine how the universe expands, what it expands into. We cannot imagine 1 divides 0. These are things that are beyond human comprehension. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concludes this remarkable, these remarkable ayahs by saying that I have split my heavens into 7 heavens, and it's to induce in you the appetite that, oh, Allah shows those heavens. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to honor the bonds that He placed us in. May He allow us to accept those. If they're challenges, where they're not challenges, may He allow us hal jazaa'ul ihsanu illa al-ihsan, to repay them with a beautiful character and quality. Wa ma alayna illa al-balagh.